Hey, welcome to Keight's Krafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you 2 hello cards I made using a couple of Lawn Fawn stencils and an STC Hello Word die. Let's get started. For the first card, I am going to be using Lawn Fawn's Lots of Stars background stencil, and for both cards I will be ink blending with Distress Oxide Speckled Egg, Shaded Lilac, and Stormy Sky. My first color, I'm going in with a little bit of Speckled Egg, and once I'm done with that, I am going to add a little bit of embossing powder, and this is clear. So my idea here is to do a little emboss resist. So I'm making sure to cover the entirety of my ink blended panel here with all the stars, and I'm going to dust that off, check to make sure that everything is dusted, and then I'm going to go in with my heat tool. Now I've sped a lot of this up because this took me, I think in reality, a couple of hours to do. So I didn't think you wanted to sit for the whole 3 hours of me doing this. So next up I have the second part of the stencil, and I am using Shaded Lilac, and I'm going all around the stencil. Now you can kind of see me going off the paper here. I'll probably end up using the scraps from these for a different card. I try not to waste this, what is it called? The Strathmore Bristol Smooth. Here I'm just going over the blue with a paper towel to get rid of any of the purple that might be on there, as I'm going to do a second round of heat embossing with clear embossing powder. Now my heat tool at this point had overheated to the point where it wouldn't turn back on, so I'm going to make sure that that's completely coated in the embossing powder while it's still kind of wet, and then I will set that aside so I can heat emboss it when my emboss gun has cooled off. So the next stencil that I'm going to be using for my second card is going to be the Sunray background stencil by Lawn Fawn. And to start, I'm going in with some Shaded Lilac at the bottom of the stencil, or the top of the stencil, however way you want to work it. And then I'm going to flip it around, and at the bottom of the stencil, which was the top of the stencil, I'm going in with some of the Speckled Egg. And once I'm happy with how I've had that all blended, I will go in with the third color. Now I found this stencil a little tricky to use. Maybe some pixie spray would help at this point, but I haven't any, and I've never used it. But I've been told that that's generally what you do for intricate stencils, which I've never used, so I can't honestly answer if it's good or not. But next I'm going in with some Stormy Sky, just to kind of blend the two colors together as my medium. It kind of looks a little funny right now with the white from the stencil itself. It kind of threw me off when I was editing it, like, am I not putting enough down? But then when I go ahead and peel off the stencil, it's like, oh, okay, no, it's fine. It's just my eyeballs playing tricks on me. So once I'm happy with that, I will bring back my heat gun and finish embossing the Starry Sky, or the starry paper that I made for my first card. So I'm just making sure to go all the way around and making sure that each and every one of the purple stars is nice and melted, and flipping it around so I can get the other side. I didn't notice any trouble with double heat embossing. Double heat embossing? Yes. This particular paper with this extra, I guess. So once I'm done with that, I will take the Stormy Sky, and once, of course, the embossing powder has cooled down, I'll go in with the Stormy Sky here and just kind of go all over it and make a giant mess. I mean, it doesn't look like much right now, but once you're happy with the coat of Distress Oxide that you've used, then you'll be able to go back in with a paper towel and kind of buff it off of the embossed bits. It will lighten up a little bit with the paper towel, and it will lighten up a little bit more as the Distress Oxide ink kind of settles, but I've never done this with regular dye ink, so I wouldn't know how to compare the two. If you've tried that, let me know in the comments below if you've tried heat embossing and resist with regular dye inks. Oh, and here is the, what is it? The Snowy Backdrop die by Lawn Fawn. I thought it'd be nice to kind of add an extra bit of texture to it. And I'm just taking that panel that I cut out with the Snowy Backdrop die with the embossed stars on it, and I'm going over it with a bunch of glue because I plan on taking those two different colored cardstocks of yellow and gluing them on the back. I had two 4 1/4 by 5.5 panels of yellow, and I couldn't decide which yellow I liked best for the background of it, like just to kind of peek through the stars. So I said, you know what, why not just use both? I mean, I could always use the other two for another project, and they're big enough that, you know, like I could still make some use out of them. So once I'm happy with how I want the sides to line up, I am going to line everything up on my panel and mash everything down. So there you can kind of see there's 2 tones of yellow on the card base. I'll grab some stamping blocks and weigh them down. Now I had this piece of paper with some iridescent watercolor by FineTec that I was messing around with, and I thought it was so neat I didn't want to throw it out. So I ended up taking this Hello die that I got from the SCT monthly sampler kit. That it's a scrapbook and cards today. They put that out on a monthly, and you kind of got to get in beforehand to be able to secure an annual subscription, which for the price, I believe it's $180 Canadian, and that includes shipping, and you get 12 months worth of like little mailers of stuff. You get like ephemera and a die this time around. I don't know if it's different other months, but you also get some patterned paper. Sometimes you get a stamp. I don't know, I find it well worth the money. I'll try to remember to leave the link in the description box if you want to check out the Scrapbook and Cards Today sampler kit that they have monthly. So here I've taken the shadow word die and cut out the shadow bit twice out of a 110-pound cardstock, just so I can have a little dimension. And I'll do this a couple of times, or another time for the next card. And once I've got that glued down, I'm going to take the Hello shadow and just cover it in glue so I can put the Hello word down, and then I can outline it with that Hello shadow, if you know what I mean. I hadn't cut the Hello die apart yet because I thought it looked pretty cool as is, and I'll repeat this process with the negatives of these, and that way I get 2 of them. And this backdrop die that I have here is the Lawn Fawn Stitch Ripple Backdrop die that I kind of wanted to add just a little bit more texture to the Sunray stencil, background stencil. So, I don't know, and plus I needed a 4 1/4 by 5.5 piece of paper so for my card base, so I decided to use it just to kind of make things simple. And with the Snowy Backdrop die, they also gave me that size. So I'm going to add a little bit of double-sided tape to these and figure out which orientation I want the card to go in. And I think I'm going to make both of these in portrait instead of landscape. I think portrait, the hello, kind of fits better, and I don't have to add anything else really. I mean, I could have added some like embellishments to this, but I never think to add embellishments half the time. I just kind of like the way they are as is. I mean, you could always add embellishments if you wanted to, but I don't know. I never think to add them most of the time. I'm just too pleased with how things turn out that I'm always worried that I might screw something up with too much glue or dropping one of the embellishments where I didn't want it to drop, so. But I'll do the same thing as I did to the first card with the glue and whatnot, and weigh that down and let that set. And once those have set to dry for a little bit, I'm going to add some double-sided tape to the back sides of my card panels. I've already done it to the first card, so all I have to do is take up the back side and peel it off, and add some glue around the back to make sure that it sticks and it stays to my card base. So once I've done that, I'll just pick this up. I'll take my side folding cardstock and mash that down. And there you have it, my finished cards. I hope this inspires you to make your own little hello cards or word dyed cards. So if you've enjoyed today's content or found it helpful, please give this video a like. I also welcome you to subscribe, as I post weekly. Here's another video I think you might enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.